What is the solution to the global economic collapse? That's what we're going to talk about today. I recently did a video about this topic, and we discussed how having your own self-sufficient environment is the best way to evade the collapse. A lot of people, however, didn't like this idea, and they said, I don't want to live out in the middle of the forest. That's not the life for me. They had excuses about why this can't be done, about how they live in a cold environment, it's not possible, about how the government will take your land away, about how you're not allowed to do one thing or the other. And so I thought to myself, I really need to hammer this home to ensure that everybody understands what the money GPS is all about. Many years ago, I started reading Austrian economics. I got into other topics as well along the way. I read many books, even Keynesian books. Started building up my knowledge. And as the years progressed on, I continued to read. And I continued to then start my YouTube channel, wrote my books, and so forth. So what I learned along the way is that we have times of crisis, we have times of prosperity. And everybody knows this. Along the way, however, some people get rich, some people aren't so lucky. The general consensus would be that you invest for the long term. And that's pretty much a general rule of thumb for all investment companies. Don't worry about any sort of issues that we have along the way. Just keep your money in there. You'll do fine. Okay, so let's say that that's the way everything works. But for me, I don't like to really play around. I like to look at it for what it is. What is the purpose of money? Do you like the paper? Do you like the digital bank account that you have and you can see the zeros and the ones and the decimal places? Is that fun? Well, if it is, then, well, enjoy. But ultimately, I think the average person would say that they want money to buy things that they need, their food, their shelter. That's what money's for. Simply a means to an end. So, why would we go and chase money when we can have all the things that we need to buy with that money, or at least some of that? We can get it from our own environment. If you lived in a tropical place, let's say, and it had 1,000 fruit trees, would you need to go to the store to buy your fruit if it was just available right in your backyard? Probably not. So all of a sudden, you're spending less money. And this applies to other things as well. If you had your own source of water, do you need to necessarily pay a monthly bill for your water? Maybe not. Depends on the situation. But if you can provide for yourself, doesn't that seem like a more safe and secure way to deal with things than to rely on someone else, whatever that is? To me, that's the way I see it, becoming self-sufficient. Now, maybe you live in an area where it doesn't get that much sunlight, so solar panels may not be the best thing. But there are other forms of alternative energy, and maybe you don't want to, or you won't be able to get 100% of the power from your solar. But can you get 50? Maybe. Can you get 40 or 30? It depends on where you live, depends on so many factors. But don't discount what I'm telling you simply because of the fact that we are running into an environment where nobody knows what's going to happen. There are a lot of people who claim they know, that's for sure. I will definitely agree with that. And I, for one, I don't know what's going to happen. If you're looking for a guru, you've come to the wrong place. If you're looking for a financial expert that claims they know everything, that tells you to invest in Facebook and Amazon, you've come to the wrong place. I'm here to look at the average person you and I, why do we need this money thing and how do we best handle it? That's the way I look at it. I obviously am fully engaged in the subject, and yet, I wrote 2 books about it, okay? And yet, I want to do away with the monetary system. Everybody wants to go to I want the gold standard, I want the yuan with the gold backing, I want to go to a cryptocurrency environment, I want to have this or that, and then you have the government saying we need to go to an SDR. There's a lot of talk. The way I look at it as, I don't know what anybody else is doing. They're all deciding, they're all fighting, they're all arguing, the stocks go up, the stocks go down, the real estate goes up and down, interest rates and everything else. And meanwhile, I'm just saying, look, I need somewhere to live, I need something to eat, I need to drink water, I need to be able to bathe myself, I need the basic fundamentals. And if I want something else, if I have a little bit of money, a little bit of savings, well then I can use that to buy things like an iPhone or whatever things that people want. Now, isn't it better than trying to just chase more and more and more and more and more money? Because your energy prices are going to go up. Your food prices are going to go up. So why not help reduce the amount that is basically going to be affected by it, and you can basically have that in your own power and do that on your own. And I understand people are saying, I don't want to be a farmer. Look, there was a lot of comments on there that just, anyway, what I said on that video was, you need to provide for your own family. You're not providing for the whole city, for the whole state or province. What you're doing is reducing your monthly expenses, and whatever ways that you feel that you can do that, then you should do that. There's so many ways. In my second book, I got into that. There are so many things, and one of those things was solar panels. People are saying, I can't afford solar, can't do it. In that video, I talked about the fact that you can get a company to come in and they will install them for you for free. You get the solar for free, but any excess, they will take it for themselves. You got to look this up for wherever you live. Every city and state, province and country, they're all different. They have different laws, but you can do that. You can get tax breaks, you can get everything. So why not check it out? That's all I'm saying. My whole point of that video was basically to talk to the people who are always saying, what are the solutions? Because we always talk about, sort of the negative aspects, or maybe we just look at things and we say, look, things are not really good the way they are projecting this onto us. So I say, why don't we do something about it? But instead of going there and going to Capitol Hill and the protests and everything else, why don't we do this from the grassroots? Why don't you and I engage on this in our own backyard, literally, and decide that we need to make a difference right here for ourselves, and then hopefully that spreads to everyone else. I hope you understand where I'm coming from with this. If you haven't seen the video already, maybe I'll put it down in the description. Essentially, what I wanted to get to was, we need to evade the monetary system. If you want to do well, don't try and basically beat the street, as they say. Evade the system altogether, or minimize how much dependence you have on this. If you have a lot of debt, you're dependent on the system. If you owe a lot to somebody else, they are your owners. They own you. So don't do that. We need to be able to become as self-sufficient as possible. Do what we can. If you only did 5% more than you're doing today, well then you've done great, because you've made a step forward in the right direction. For me, I know what I want. I talked about it on that video. I know many people had the same feelings as me, and I do just want to say thank you to all of those people. If you have criticisms, constructive criticisms, of course, that's great. But we shouldn't just say, no, can't do it. Forget it, can't do it, it's not possible. Well, those are limiting beliefs. and you shouldn't get yourself involved in those. So I know that you guys can do this because there's so many intelligent people that I've communicated with over the years. And it's just been a great time. It's been certainly ups and downs along the way, but I do appreciate each and every single one of you, and I want you to know what's going on in my head while I'm doing the other videos. Because yes, I can tell you, look, as long as the central banks are printing money, Amazon stock, it's probably going to continue to rise. Is that valuable to you? Maybe. But that's really not what this is about, this channel. There's a lot of people out there that will tell you which stocks to invest in and when to sell and how far they go up and down and everything else. It's up to you. You can take this information for yourself, make use of it, and I'll leave it at that. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. And that's basically where I want to leave it. If you want to check out the other video, if you haven't already, I will leave it in the description of this video so you can check it for yourself. Take care.